Hello, everybody. Oh no. Hey, I'm gonna wait till everyone gets here, let people settle in. But for now, yeah, here's some prompts. Answer in the chat, what's an RPG that you've played? Where do you like to go for walks? Also, if you signed up for this, we should have sent you a key to Pico-8. If you haven't gotten one, then reach out to Leebot or Moot in the Discord. Yeah, join the Babycastles Discord and then reach out there, and then maybe we can try to hook you up. But yeah, cool. Some people have gotten their keys, so that's good. Yeah, we're just gonna wait till like 3:05 or something, and then get started. Oh no. Pokemon, and I like walks around the park. Yes, Pokemon is objectively the best video game. Which Pokemon? Walks around the local park. Yeah, I love walking around the park. That's my favorite place to walk too. I don't remember the last time I walked. Oh no. Where would we find the key? If you signed up, then we should have sent you a key, and it should be in your email, the same email that you used to sign up with. Yeah, and if you didn't get your key, you just signed up. Okay, yeah. If you just signed up or you haven't signed up and you want to get a key, reach out to, join the Babycastles Discord. So the link's right there at the bottom. And then in the Babycastles Academy channel, the Babycastles like Dash Academy, you can ask Mooch and Leebot and someone, maybe DM them your email and they can send you a key that way. I'm not super sure if that is going to work though, but that's your best bet to get a Pico-8 key. Oh yeah, Mooch Player and Bobo Castles know what's going on better than I do. Signs of the Sojourner and around the neighborhood. Oh, I haven't played Signs of the Sojourner yet. Around. Oh yeah, I do love to walk around the neighborhood. Say hi to the neighbors. Yeah, it could be in your junk email. Cross bridges and above water. Yeah, bridges are nice. I haven't been on a bridge in a long time. Okay, Mooch is helping you. Okay, that's awesome. Bridges are okay. They're more than okay. They're pretty. They're marvels of modern engineering. Yeah, let's give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Let me pull up my notes. Anyone else see a frozen screen? Yeah, there's nothing happening right now, I think. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, there's just, oh wait, even, is my face frozen too? That's not good. As long as my face is moving, then it's good. But yeah, right now there's nothing happening on screen. Walk around Wikipedia links and fun web pages. True, a more conceptual walk. Okay, let's get started. So yeah, as I've already mentioned, Pico-8 is usually $15, and it's well worth the price. But Zep, the creator of Pico-8 and the maintainer of it, has been super generous and has given us Pico-8 keys for this sort of like educational context. And so if you would like a Pico-8 key, you should have gotten one if you signed up before Saturday. But if you haven't, then maybe we can hook you up with Pico-8. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But okay. Hi, I'm Fran, and this is how to make your first video game with Pico-8. I'm pretty excited to do this. I like making video games, and I like making video games with Pico-8, and I love Babycastles, and especially like Babycastles Academy. It's like a very nice tradition that's been going for like about a year. Babycastles is a New York-based collective that fosters and amplifies diverse voices in video game culture. We're a 501c nonprofit, so if you like what you see today, if you enjoy yourself, please consider donating. There's links on the bottom. This workshop is part of Babycastles Academy. It's a thing that was started when COVID hit back in like March. Babycastles is traditionally, before it was a thing that sort of happens in person, or it inhabits like, physical spaces. And so when COVID hit, we were trying to figure out, what does Babycastles mean now? Like, what do we do online? And part of that has been creating this Babycastles Academy. And so for the last like year or so, there's been every other Sunday or so, like different workshops and talks around all sorts of topics, from like creative technology to video games to just into like, things like goal setting. So it's just like a ton of content, and all of it is online, I think, on YouTube, and it's all free. It's pretty cool, and so today is another iteration of that. Checking the chat. Some people are having like frozen screens. Okay. Ooh, someone from LA. Ooh, international. Not international. Cross-national. Intranational. Yeah, so today we're going to be making games with Pico-8. I have Pico-8 pulled up right here. If you haven't opened up Pico-8, please do that now. This is actually, right now, is actually like a Pico-8 game that you can see on screen. You can like toggle to like the editor mode, and here's the code for it, right? Will this be available after stream? What will be? The Discord should be, the lesson plan will also be available after stream, and so will the video. Yeah, this should be like recorded and then available after stream. Yeah. Yeah. So Pico-8 is, just to like introduce you to this tool. It is a tool for making video games, and it's a tool for making very small games, and it's also a fantasy console, which is hard to explain, but the gist of it is that it's kind of like its own ecosystem where you can not only like make a game in Pico-8, but you can also like play a game using play those games that you made with Pico-8, and you can create these virtual cartridges that you can then share with your friends or your enemies, and they can play your Pico-8 game using Pico-8. There's also a way that you can export it to the web. It's pretty cool. The thing that's cool about Pico-8 is that it has a lot of these like constraints. So, like for example, there's only like 16 colors, and here you can like see 4 of them. And all games are like 128 by 128 pixels. So that's like a super low resolution. But because of those constraints, it lets you make games pretty fast and prototype games pretty fast. So like the quintessential example is like, or the famous example is that Celeste, the popular, indie heartthrob game, was first prototyped using Pico-8. So if you want to look that up, you can look up like Celeste Pico-8 or Celeste P8, and you'll find like the original prototype. Yeah, so let's start. Today we're going to make an RPG, and it's going to be a very small RPG. Let me delete all this. Don't worry about that. It's going to be a very tiny RPG, and it's a very like loose sense of the word RPG. So I mean an RPG in sort of the way that you walk around. Let me go back here. That you can like in Pokemon, and like Earthbound or Undertale. You have a little character and you can like walk around. And so today we're going to make a game where you are a ghost in a graveyard and you float around this graveyard. And so the goal today hopefully is to get a finished game or a working game that you can share with people like as quickly as possible. This is supposed to be very like beginner friendly, and sort of like, if it's your first time making a game, like you are the intended audience, right? But computers can be kind of finicky and mean sometimes. So I'm going to try to pay attention to the chat and answer questions, but I also do want to try to cover all the content and try to get to a point where we have like a game that is shareable. So I'm going to try to go very slowly, but if I have to move on, I do encourage you to get help with Babycastles or Mooch Player in the chat, or join the Discord, and in the Babycastles Academy, reach out to Leebot or Mooch. Yeah. So, okay. Is the game shareable via browser, or do people need to install Pico-8 to play? It is shareable. There's a way to make it shareable via the browser, and I'm gonna get to that. That'll be like the end of today. Is like you can put it up in the browser and share it, and someone else can like go to that link, and play it. Yeah. Yeah, so if you open up Pico-8, you should see, it should probably be actually a little bit different than this. Let me open it up so I get the same thing that everyone else is seeing. So you open up Pico-8, and you see this, right? And this is like a command line interface. You can type help to get different commands. This is kind of overwhelming. The most important command, I think, is this one called ls. So ls stands for list, or like, list games. And you can type it and press enter, and you can see all your different Pico-8 games that you've made. So if this is your first time opening up Pico-8, then you have nothing. Probably this will be empty. Yeah, there are other commands that we will use later, like how to save a game, how to run your game. this command line interface is sort of like the control center where you can like kind of yeah, like do like very high level things with the game. But if we want to actually like make the game, then what you have to do is press escape. And escape will put you in this editor mode. And this is like the meat of how we're going to make games in Pico-8. So there's this, again, that's escape to go to this editor mode. So you can press escape again to toggle back to the command line, and then escape to go back to editor mode. Here there's a few different tabs, and you can see these tabs of the editor up here on the top right. There's 5 different tabs. One sec. My mouth gets so dry. So this is the code editor tab. This is the sprite editor tab. This is the map editor tab. This is the sound effects editor tab. Yeah. And this is the music editor tab. Yes, it's important to hydrate. Thank you, Charles. Very important. We are going to not really be using this sound effects and music editor tab too much today. Maybe we'll get to it. But the most important ones for today are this code editor tab, this sprite editor tab, and this map editor tab. And okay, the first thing we're going to do is draw our space, draw our graveyard. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to draw our tiles that we're going to use for our graveyard in this sprite editor. And then we're going to use the tiles that we've drawn in this sprite editor to make this space with these tiles. We're going to make this graveyard. So, for example, I'm going to draw a grass tile. The way you do this is open up the sprite editor, select this pencil tool. It should be selected by default. Select a color. Come over here. I'm going to select dark green for my grass tile, and I'm just going to fill this in. Every sprite in Pico-8 is 8 pixels by 8 pixels. It's like really small. That's like a common thing in Pico-8. Everything's just very small. But these are 8. So this whole square is 8 pixels by 8 pixels, and these like pixels are blown up. So you know they're like giant squares on our screen. When they're actually in the game, this will be smaller. But yeah, so this is our grass tile. Yeah, so yeah, as Babycastles was saying, if you get stuck or want help, post here, and yeah, we will do our best to help. Yeah, so this is what in my mind, this is what grass looks like. It's just green. It's just plain green. And oh yeah, that's good. And now we are going to take this grass tile, and we're going to go into the map editor, and we can see that, here, let me erase this. We can see that we have this grass tile that we just made down here, and we're going to, it's kind of like the same thing in the sprite editor. We're going to select it and then click on here and drag to draw in the actual map. What you can do is you can hold space. And if you hold space, it'll let you pan. But more importantly, you can see that there are these little markers in the top right, top left, and bottom right corners. And this sort of marks out your screen space. So each one of these tiles is 8 pixels by 8 pixels. And if you count across, wait, is this the full screen or is this the full screen? I don't know. I'm not really sure. We'll see later. Right now, pretend that this is your you want to fill up this screen. Maybe someone who knows can tell me if I'm wrong and this is just the top left corner, because it might just be, this might be the whole thing actually. That would make more sense since it's 8 by 8 and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 16. Yeah, okay. Forget what I just said. So, yeah, thank you, right. So, if you're gonna start kind of zoomed in, you can, on a Windows, if you have a mouse, you can press Control and then use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. I think on Mac you can maybe pinch, but if you're on a trackpad you can like pinch or like use the 2 fingers to zoom in and out. But yeah, let's move around a little bit. Oh yeah, you don't even have to use Control. You can just zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. But yeah, what you want to do, the Pico-8 screen is 128 by 128 pixels. Like that, the whole, it's like 128 across and 128 down. And so the way to fill up an entire screen with these tiles is to count 8 of these tiles, or 16 of these tiles. Since each of these tiles are 8 by 8, 8 times 16 is 128, which I know because before this I like used a calculator. And so what you want to do is fill up this sort of 16 by 16 grid with your tiles. So I'm just going to paint with this grass. I'm using space to pan and then just clicking and dragging to draw. And there's, if you're not a masochist, you can use this fill tool. So down here there's like the pencil tool to draw. Then there's also this fill tool that you can click with and it'll fill in different parts. Yeah, we'll give everyone a second to draw it out. Water break. Yeah, so that's sort of like the basic, you know, this is sort of our grass, but graveyards also have other things like tombstones. So let's draw a tombstone. So I'm going to, is there an undo? Yeah, you can press Control Z to undo. Yeah. Yeah, so now we're going to draw our tombstone. So again, go back into your sprite editor by clicking up here, and then select your pencil tool, or I'm going to use the bucket tool to fill in my green background. And now I'm going to draw a gravestone. And I sort of got the idea to make a graveyard like this week, and I haven't tried making it yet, so hopefully this gravestone looks like a gravestone. But I'm just gonna, I click this dark gray and this pencil, I'm just gonna start drawing, and you can draw whatever you like, actually. Like, you don't have to make a graveyard. The important thing is just to fill up the screen space with a space in the map editor and some tiles. But I'm feeling spooky. It's kind of nice. A little gravestone. Maybe some ground, you know? They did kind of a bad job putting the gravestone in. Kind of like this. Yeah. You can see how, as we're drawing it, it gets filled in down here, right? And so we can select our grass tile, and we can select our gravestone tile, and all these are different slots for making more sprites. Right now we'll just make these two. Oh yeah, so there should be an F in the gravestone. That's good. That's a good point, actually. Let's draw a little F. So, yeah, like a top-down. Yeah, I'm sort of like, the only video game that I care about is Pokemon, and yeah, I'm sort of imagining this sort of isometric Pokemon, sort of top-down, but like kind of from an angle view. Kind of, yeah, looking at it from, not like bird's eye view, not like completely vertical down, but sort of like, yeah, a little bit like from the top. Yeah, so, and now that we have this sprite, we can draw on our map on this space with the graveyard, with the tombstone. F's in the chat, please. Yeah, and we'll just, just kind of however you feel with these graveyards. Maybe we just gotta make a big F. Let's not do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm hitting Control Z to undo that because it's just not, I don't like that artistically. Yeah, and so again, you can hold space to sort of see the different corners, and you can see that we sort of filled in the whole screen with these gravestones. You can zoom in and see that, this is what it looks like close up. When it zooms out, it kind of starts to look weird, but that's just because it only has so many pixels to draw. Yeah. I don't know if we should I make anything else? No, I think that's okay. A little graveyard, a bunch of Fs. And so now we're going to, how do you add a new tile of art? Yes. Yes. Click on this tiny icon with the face, which is the sprite editor. And then, right, in the bottom half, you have these different sprites slots. And by default, you have this one selected, and then you can click on another slot, to make a new tile art. Yeah, good question. Yeah, thank you, Babycastles. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we'll give everyone just like 30 more seconds to, maybe if you want to, draw something else, put it on here. I'm going to draw, I will. I'm going to draw like a, what do I want? I want like a well. I want a well. Whoopsie. Yes, can you duplicate an existing tile? Yes. You can select this tile. Pretty sure you can, if you have it selected, and you do Control, so on a Windows, if you Control C, it'll copy, and you can see that it says copied 1x, 1x1 sprites. And then in another one, you select the other one, and you do Control V, and it should paste that sprite. You can also there's a way to oh yeah, so if you scroll or mess with this guy, you can start copy and pasting more than one sprite. which is probably useful for some reasons, but we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that right now. You can do it if you're brave. I believe in you. Cool. Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Let's make a little well. Really quick. Oh, the one important thing to note is that for Pico-8, so there's no like eraser, if you'll notice, right? The way Pico-8 draws things is that black is like your background color. So if you draw in black, it'll be translucent. It'll be transparent. Which is maybe what you want. But yeah, there's a way to switch that, but it's a little bit tricky. So by default, you can't really draw with black. It's sort of your transparent color. This is more important, like when we're drawing the players right before. But, is there a way to duplicate sprites? Yeah. If you want to copy one and edit it a little. Yeah. So, do you mean different than what we just went over with like the control? Have you tried Control C and Control C and then Control V? So Control C to copy it and then Control V to paste it. Oh, perfect. Hell yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. Yeah, please keep asking questions. I'm kind of going a little slow. I'm kind of lingering on purpose so you can people can ask questions. I'm going to finally draw this. There's like a rope. It's like this, right? You got this little bucket. You got a rope from the well, right? It's like dangling in. And then you got little... Oopsie. Oh, something that can help is you can right-click on a pixel and it will select that color. So instead of having to like go back and forth between like this color or drawing and this color, you can just kind of right-click and it'll automatically select that color. Is there a way to import images into the editor? Yeah, not that I know of either. I think that I actually do know some people that have like written scripts to do that. The Pico-8 community is pretty wild with like all the ways that they've sort of taken this tool and just made it do amazing things. Like I very much encourage you to like search the hashtag Pico-8 hashtag on Twitter to see that. And you can also join the Pico-8 Discord. The Pico-8 community is really nice and welcoming, and if you want to start trying out things by yourself and like maybe do some interesting stuff, if you want to like import an image into the editor, I'm sure that someone in the community has found a way to do that. Yeah, right. So there's this. Yeah, thank you, Yokatsun. So like, it's this like Pico-8.fandom wiki is like, yeah, probably a big source of a lot of like different things. Yeah, okay. This is our well. Let's put it on here. Make a little well, just one well. That's not. Let's do like. Ugh. It's fine. That's fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. That's our well. There's a little bucket with the little rope that goes down. I'm so excited to see other people's more beautiful art. Okay, I'm going to Yeah, any other questions before I move on? I'll give everyone like 30 more seconds. There's a question about rotating on Discord. Might be useful for others here. Yes. So I'll just demonstrate what Mooch is saying. So if you select a sprite, you can press R to rotate it 90 degrees, and you keep pressing R to keep rotating it, which is fun. And the other thing you can do is press F to flip it. So I'm pressing F right now, and it's, well, that one's like, that's a bad example. F to flip the F. Let's keep it flipped. I like that. Dancing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now that we have this graveyard that we've made, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually make it appear in the game. So right now it's just, the graveyard is just this thing in our editor. It's, just an idea in our heads. It's not really, in the game yet. And so we're gonna do that. Read my notes. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so Pico-8 uses a few different functions, but we're going to focus on drawing things right now. So Pico-8 uses this programming language called Lua, and it's a scripting language that has been around since before Pico-8, but Pico-8 kind of uses it for its coding. And the way you code in Pico-8 is you first go into this code editor by clicking on the parentheses in the top right. So we were just in the sprite and map editors. Now if you click on this code editor, you will be writing code. And Pico-8 sort of like needs code to tell it what to do and to tell it what to draw. By default, it doesn't draw anything onto the screen. You need to tell it to draw things. And the way we do that is by using this magic function, and we're going to write our first code right now. We're going to write this function called _draw. And write it this way. So if you have the lesson plan pulled up, you can copy and paste the code. Otherwise, try to copy this exactly. It's very important to make sure all the words are spelled exactly how they're spelled here, and including this _draw. It is function, the word function, space, underscore, and then the word draw, and then an open parentheses and a close parentheses. And then press enter and write this word end. And this will be this function _draw. What Pico-8 does is it takes this function and it looks at all the code that is in this function and it runs that code 30 times a second. So like super fast. It's just going like boom, 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 or like 30 frames a second, right? So every time the code in draw happens, so like you can imagine there's some code in here. The code that's in here is run, and the way, because it runs at 30 frames per second, that's how we can do like animation and make a video game. But for now, we don't really have any animation. For now, we're just going to, what we want to do is we want to draw our map, and to do that, we're going to use a special function. By the way, when you see me do this like sort of dash dash and then write something, you can notice that it's sort of grayed out, and that's because this is what's called a comment. it's sort of like a note to myself or to anyone that's reading the code. Anything that comes after this dash dash does not get, Pico-8 doesn't see it. It's sort of like, it doesn't get executed. It doesn't count it as real code. So you can like write whatever you want and it won't mess things up. Sort of like give yourself notes to yourself. So you remember things or understand things a little better about your code. So you can, basically what I'm saying is you can copy this down or not. This stuff doesn't matter. But, okay. When I program with Pico-8, I have the memory of a little animal. And so I always use the Pico-8 cheat sheet to remember things. So you can, I'll just show you where it is if you want to pull it up. The link to it should be in the lesson plan. Maybe which player or Babycastles can post it there too if people want to see. But no, not this one. I want how do I find it? Pico-8 resources. So there's this Pico-8 resources page, and this is like the Bible of like everything that you can do in Pico-8. But as you can tell, it's super long. So we're not gonna use that today. If you want to like understand Pico-8 more and do more things, like everything is here and it's super well explained. Like I learned Pico-8 just by reading this manual, and it's like it was very helpful. But today, what I use every time I use Pico-8, instead of pulling up the manual, I pull up this cheat sheet, and I always have it sort of like either the background or next to it. And today, what we're going to use, oh, thank you for posting the links. Today, I don't know who N1 is, that's interesting. Today, we're going to be drawing our space onto Pico-8. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this map function. Where is it? Yeah. So it's like it's in the on the cheat sheet. It's like in the bottom in the middle. What this map function does is it takes what we've created in the map editor and it puts it onto the screen. Because by default, Pico-8 doesn't do that. So I'll just write what we have to write, and then you can copy it down, and I'll explain what it's doing after. So it's 0, 0, cell 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 16, 16. So what this is doing, if you look at the cheat sheet for it, you can see that it says cell X and cell Y, screen X, screen Y, cell W, cell H. And that corresponds to the ones that, like my 0, 0 is cell X, cell Y, then there's another 0, 0 for screen X, screen Y, and then a 16, 16 for cell W, cell H. And then this layer one is optional. We don't care about it, so we're not going to use it. That's for if you want to do some other trickier things, but we're not going to use it today, so just ignore it. But yeah, it has takes 6 arguments, 6 parameters, and what it's saying is that I want to draw this map starting from the 0th cell in the X direction and in the Y direction in the map editor. So if you can see, when I'm floating over the map editor, there is these X and Y in the bottom left, right over here. So, I'm floating over stuff, and this X and Y down here is changing, right? If you remember from high school algebra or middle school algebra or something, Pico-8 does everything on this coordinate system. The screen is 128 by 128 pixels. You can see on here that's sort of explaining this a little bit. And the 0, like the origin, the 0, 0, instead of being like in the middle or the bottom, whatever, the 0, 0 is in the top left. So you can kind of see that's what this is saying. It's like starting from 0, goes to the right, and goes down. Sorry, my brain's not working. So what this map function is saying is that we're starting in the xy 0, 0 cell. We're going to like paste it starting with the screen x and screen y. So like on the screen, the 0, 0 is also going to be in the top left. And then we're going to, how much of the map we're going to copy and paste onto the screen and draw onto the screen is determined by cell W and cell H. So we're doing, in our case, we're doing 16 blocks. And that'll make up the whole screen. So, here we start with 0, 0, and we're going all the way, if you count them, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16. You can see that it says x 15. It's 15 plus the 0th one, so that's 16. And the same thing in the y direction. It goes 0, 0 all the way down to y equals 15. So like, yeah, and in general, it's basically it's 16 high, 16y. Oops. In this case, we're talking about number of tiles or number of cells. Does this affect the resolution of the game, or is that fixed? Resolution is 128 by 28. Right. Yeah, exactly. So the resolution is always 128 by 128. But yeah, you can sort of. Right now, we're just drawing this part of the map, of the space. But you can draw. If we were to, you can imagine if you draw like over here. Now we can like change our map arguments and draw a different part of that space of that map onto the screen. But right now we just want this block. That's what we're drawing. It's this block with the outline by these like helpful corner markers. But yeah, the resolution of Pico-8 is always 128 by 128. You can't change that. That's sort of like a constraint. Yeah. What else? Yeah. The last thing, like if you wanted to create a side scroller, you could do it by changing those parameters. Right. Exactly. Yeah, and I think that there's actually even this like camera function which works with the map function. And using both of those, you can, it's like using variables. If you change the variables, you can change, what part of the map is being drawn. I think you might not even need the camera function. Like you can maybe do it without it, but it's kind of nice. But yeah, if you want to change what part of the screen is being shown, like with the side scroller, so you start in like the top right corner or this top left section. If you move your character, you can like change the map with some variables depending on where your character is, and it'll show different parts of the map that you've drawn on the screen. Maybe we'll get to that if we have time today, but yeah. Can I somehow watch this translation later in recording? This translation. If you're asking if this recording will be available, this will be recorded and available afterwards. Can I somehow watch? I'm not sure if it's being translated though, and I'm not sure if we are going to have time to, I guess, implement the translation. If you mean it in like a graphics way of like moving the map, but yeah. Yeah, good questions. So the last thing we're going to do, now that we've drawn our map, or we've told Pico-8 to draw the map, is we're going to write this function, CLS. CLS stands for clear screen, and so if you can sort of imagine that Pico-8 is running this draw function 30 times a second, every time before drawing the map, we want to clear the screen, and then we want to draw the map on it. And it doesn't really matter, honestly, right now for just drawing the map. It wouldn't change anything, but this is like necessary to like do like animations and stuff later. Like whenever I start a Pico-8 program, I like write this function draw and then I put clear CLS. Like you almost always just want this clear screen function. It's kind of like yeah, it wipes the screen so that you can draw the next frame onto it. Yeah. Okay. So now that we have these functions, we want to actually run the game. But before we run the game, let's save our game. And the way that you save the game to make sure you don't lose your hard work is you press escape, and you go back into this command line interface. Remember this guy from the beginning, and you type. Once you're here, you type save space. Don't hit enter. Save space, and then the name of your game. I'm going to call it Graveyard. And then .p8. So the name of your game can be anything. It doesn't have to be Graveyard, but it is important that you put .p8 at the end of it. Yeah. And so you hit enter, and that is now it's saved. And now from now on, if we want to save it again, at any point we can just press Control S, and that'll save it from anywhere. So I'm pressing Control S right now. I can go back to the code editor and press Control S, and it's saving. And so that's very important. Let me know if that doesn't work for you. But now that you've saved your game, now we can run our game. And now, if we've done things right, it should do something good. And the way we're going to run it is we're going to type just the word run, in the command line interface, and hit enter. And now it runs our game. And so now we have our beautiful graveyard, or whatever space you drew, running like a real game. Another way of running your game, because sometimes it's annoying to be writing some code, and then you don't have to exit out and go and do run every time. You can just do Control R, and that'll run your game. So usually when I'm making a Pico-8 game, I press escape. I'm doing stuff. Press R, and I press escape twice to go back to editing. I check it. Do some more code, check if it's okay, press R. Hell yeah, calm down, kidder. You're ready. I've created a monster. Okay, so one thing is that if you didn't type these words correctly, if you sort of, misspelled map 2 P's, who doesn't do that sometimes, and you try to run your game, you'll get this, depending if you haven't done things right, you might get this sort of error. And there's so many different ways that things can go wrong when you're coding things and in Pico-8 in general. So if that is happening to you, I'll give people a minute to sort of say things. Maybe you can kind of troubleshoot. I'll give it a couple minutes, and then we'll move on at some point. But I do want to kind of have space for helping out with any sort of coding syntax errors or whatever. That was so satisfying. Yeah, that's why I make games, for sure. For that moment of holy shit, I just made a game. If your map, it doesn't cover entire screen, you can go back to the map and just keep drawing your sprites lower onto the screen. Yes. To get out of your game, hit the escape key. Yes, thank you, Babycastles. Yes. So when you run your game with run or Control R, and if you want to get out of it, you can press escape, and that'll sort of get you into this command line interface over here. And you can press escape again, to go into the editor. So yeah, remember always escape toggles between editor and command line interface. But yeah, if you're playing your game, or if you have this game running, you can press escape to exit. Thank you, Babycastles. Yeah. Word. Yeah. I guess no one's panicking about syntax errors, so I will move on after some water. And some caffeine. Where would the saved file be on disk? Oh, that's a good question. We'll get there. Yokatsun. We will, yeah, exactly. You can type the word folder. What Babycastles says. Yeah, I'll demonstrate that really quickly, actually. So if you're in this command line interface, right, for anyone who's wondering, like, because these games are actually saved in your computer somewhere. They're not just like in Babycastles, in Pico-8. So you can type folder and it'll bring up where they are. But don't do that yet. Don't just forget that I said that. That's later. Don't do that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, great questions. Okay, let's do okay, so we have this space, we have a graveyard, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not a game because you can't do anything. It's like you're playing this game and pressing buttons and nothing's happening. Maybe it's a hot take, but I don't think something is a video game until you can press buttons and make things happen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add a player character now. And so we are going to add a character that we can control, and this is where we're going to make our character, and in what I'm going to draw is a ghost. So we have a graveyard, and so I'm going to draw a ghost, and we're going to go into click on this face in the top right corner to go back into the sprite editor. Make sure that you are in edit mode. If you're in command line mode or on the game, press escape to get into like edit mode. If you see your code editor, or if you see this top right, this bar on the top right, on the top, then you know you're in edit mode. Click on the sprite editor and select a new slot. So right now I have these 3 sprites. I'm going to select this one to create a new sprite, and I'm going to start drawing my ghost. We're out of time. Okay. And I'm just going to make a little ghosty. I think. Yeah. Yeah, again, we're just making a new sprite, and we're going to draw our ghost. Kind of want... Oh, the black eyes are going to be transparent, though. Yeah, so remember that black is like your background transparent color. If you draw with black, it's going to show up as transparent when we actually put it in the game. So maybe just don't draw with black, or keep it as just the background color. Or just, yeah. Understand that it'll be transparent. I'm going to get some purple eyes. Hello, it's just a Pac-Man ghost, I'm realizing, which is great. Good game. Oh, look at our ghost. These are good colors. Yeah, okay, and so this is going to be, you can draw whatever you want. You can copy this exactly if you would like. It's beautiful art, so I would understand why you would want to. But right now what we're drawing is like the player character that we are going to control on screen, and that is we're going to press arrow keys and it's going to like walk around, sort of like in Pokemon or in Undertale, Earthbound, any sort of isometric RPG or adventure game. I'll give people like 30 more seconds to do that, and give myself 30 seconds to remember what happens next. So we do this. Calm down, Kendra says, my ghost has got red and pink eyes because he hit the spooky ghost dab. Very dank. This ghost really relaxing, and we are into relaxation here. Yeah, you can like make them different colors if you want. Whoa, that's wild. Too crazy. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, now, yeah, let's move on. Let's do, so now that we've drawn our player, our ghost, we are going to put it into the game. And the way that we're going to put it into the game is we're going to go back to our code, and we're going to, again, write a different function, or use a different function that will let us draw this sprite into the game. The function that we're specifically going to use is, if you're eagle-eyed, you will notice that there's this sprites section in the cheat sheet. If you go down, I'll zoom in to the bottom left, sprites, there's this function called spur, S-P-R, spur. It stands for sprite, I think, I'm pretty sure. And you can see that it has a lot of different parameters or arguments that it takes. We are going to ignore anything beyond here. So all these guys in like brackets, these are all optional arguments, which is great because I don't want to think about those right now. We are only going to think about these three. And this is going to be a little bit tricky maybe depending on how you've drawn things. Here, let me just write it and then I'll explain sort of what's going on. Spur 4, and then we'll do 60. Okay. So this n, in my case it's 4. This n in the function is the number of your sprite that you want to draw in this sprite sheet. So, where we have this spur function, we're coding. If you click on this space, you go back to the sprite editor, and you can see that I have drawn already 4 sprites, right? I have this grass tile, I have this tombstone, I have this well, and then I have my ghost. Every time I click on one of these, you can see that it changes over here, and that this number next to it also changes. And this is like the number of the sprite. So this grass tile is sprite 1. This tombstone is sprite 2. I thought I flipped it. This tombstone is sprite 2. This well is sprite 3. And this ghost is sprite 4. This empty one is sprite 5, 6, etc. This eraser or like null sprite is sprite 0. But yeah, so because I wanted to draw this ghost sprite, and it's the 4th sprite, when I write this spur function, the first number, this n, refers to the number, n for number, of the sprite in my sprite sheet. So that's why it's 4, right? And then these next two parameters is the x and y position of the sprite on the screen when we draw it. So our screen, remember, is 128 pixels by 128 pixels, like a Cartesian coordinate system, right? And I just want to draw it somewhere in the middle. And 60 is like about half of 128. So if this is our screen, 128 pixels by 128 pixels, I'm probably going to draw the ghost somewhere around here, just to give us a starting point of somewhere to put it on the screen. So that is what these x and y parameters or arguments are. So if you've done that correctly, also let me just make a note that this space I have here, it doesn't. You can have a space there or not. It doesn't really matter. This like there's like kind of like this white space. In other cases, white space does matter. Like here, it's very important that there's a space between these two. But here it's sort of you can have kind of like different number of like white spaces between lines. I'm just gonna keep it like this for now. But yeah, if we've done all this correctly, we can hit Control. Or sorry, one last thing. Because my sprite is sprite number 4, I put a 4 there. But your sprite might be different. It might not be 4. It might be, you might have only drawn 2 sprites. So maybe your player character sprite is the 3rd sprite. Or maybe you've drawn like a bunch of sprites or whatever. If you've been following along exactly, then it will be 4. But it's just important that wherever your character is on the sprite sheet, whatever number that is, you want to copy that number. Take note, for example, for mine, it's 4, and then put it as this first argument. I just wanted to call that out because it might be different. But yeah, if we've done anything right, then we should hit Control R to run it, and now we have our game, our graveyard, and we have this little ghost in the middle of the screen, in the middle of my screen. I'll give people like a minute to ask any questions before I move on. But yeah, someone said, yeah, Tara Gramnell said that was so satisfying before. Like this is also another satisfying moment for me. Like now I have this like character in there. That's pretty cool. Can the tiles be reorganized in the tile editor? Yeah, so Yokatsun asks, can they be reorganized in the tile editor? I think you can, not easily, I think. Yeah, it's a big wow moment. Yeah, can the tiles be, I don't think the tiles can be reorganized, like easily. I think the way I do it is I will, copy and then paste, and then like delete, or then like copy, paste, and that's how I like reorganize things. But I don't think they can be, like, I don't think you can kind of like drag them around easily. Not that I know of. Maybe you can. But yeah, I'm gonna put this back. Yeah, good question. Yeah, I wish. Yeah. What is this? I don't even know what these guys do. That works. Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, okay, so yeah, now we got our player in the game, but it is still not a video game, in my opinion, because nothing is happening. It's just there, and it's a very nice melancholy atmosphere, but it's not a game. So what we're going to do is now we're going to get input and we're going to add it in, and we're going to take input from the player and use it to control this ghost. The way we're going to do that is we're going to go back to our code editor and we're going to write some code. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to recognize that if we want to change the position of this player, then we need to change this number. So for example, right now it's 60-60, but I can change it to 40-60, and it's moved a little bit, right? I can change it to 50-60, and it's moved a little bit. I can put it all the way to the right by doing like 100-60. And it's moving, since it's the X value, it's moving like left and right on the screen. I can even move it up by putting like 100 by like I don't know, 40. You know, it's going up. And now I'm playing a video game, and so this is like, you know, kind of interesting. Yeah, again, all I'm doing is I'm pressing Control R to run it, and I'm pressing Escape to go back to the editor. But it's not, you know, what I'm doing right now is not super fun, and also like, I don't want to ask the person who's playing my game to like have to go in the code editor to change this. So we're gonna try to change it for the player. And so the way that we need to do that is, instead of having this number here, we need to have a variable. We're going to call it player x, right? So this is the x position of the player. And we're going to assign that to something. You know, we had 60 before, so we'll just make it 60. Yeah. What this is doing is, we're assigning this variable, and we're starting it off at 60, but since we have this number, this variable, sort of like if you remember from math, when you, like, you know, x equals 5, you're saying x equals 5. Sort of a similar thing is happening here. We're saying that player x equals 60, and we're going to modify this player x value in a second. But it's just, for now, make sure that you replace this x parameter, the second parameter in spur with player x, and then at the top assign it to player x equals 60. The like white space above and under player x equals 60 doesn't really matter. The white space here doesn't matter. This will work, but it's best to just kind of copy it exactly. Give everyone a couple seconds. Okay, and now we're going to change this player x variable. And the way we're going to do that is with a second magic function in Pico-8 called function update. So it's, you know, a similar form as when we did draw. So just copy this exactly. So it's function underscore and the word update, open and close parentheses, and then the word end. Same thing for when we did function underscore draw, etc., but with the word update. So I'll explain what that's doing while you copy it down. So for reasons that I don't fully understand and that aren't very important, we can't take button inputs, or in Pico-8 you don't take button inputs in the draw function. You do it in the update function. And update is almost exactly like draw. Update is also running 30 times a second. You know, really fast. But we want to separate out the functions that do, or the code that does drawing stuff. So here it's all drawing stuff, with the code that like we're about to write that takes button input and does something with button input. There are like important reasons for why that I do understand at some level, but it's too. The important thing to know is just that this is the way that this is the way it's done. It's like that meme from Black Panther. It's like, we don't do that here. We don't take button inputs in the draw function, and we don't put draw calls in the update, or drawing function in the update function. Okay. So now that you have your update function, we are going to write some code that will take button input, and the way we do that is by using this important function over here in the cheat sheet. If you look to the right under controls, this is like the section we're going to be focusing on. So I'll zoom into here. And what we want is this btn function. It stands for button. And I'm going to write the code that we're going to do, and then I'll explain what it's doing. So we want if button of 0, then, and what do I want? I want player x equals. Okay, so Yeah, I'll give you a second to copy this down, and then I'll explain what it's doing. Where are we on time? Oh, we're doing good. Okay. Oh, I have not 1 cup of water, but 2 cups of water. Because I know how dry my mouth gets. Okay, so hopefully you had a little bit of time to copy this function down. Or this code down. What we're doing is, so update is running 30 times a second. And what this if, or let me explain first what button 0 is doing. Button 0 is, yeah, double hydration. I don't want to, I'm not gonna, there's this thing called hypo. You can become too hydrated and like your blood vessels burst. And I think that's like almost impossible to do, but sometimes I get worried about that. Anyway, this button function, we're doing, if you look at this controls on the cheat sheet, you can see that all these buttons are labeled with a number. This left button, there's like left, up, right, down, 0, and X. And with these, since we're playing on keyboards, what they correspond to are, these guys are like your arrow keys, and then these guys actually work as like your Z and X keys. But what we're going to do right now is just use the arrow keys. And so we are specifically using this left arrow key, right? So we're using button 0, and that is for this left key. So we are checking something about this left button key, left key. And what we're doing specifically is like we're saying, okay, if this left key is pressed, then do this. Player X equals player X minus 1. So we are decreasing every frame. Like update is running 30 times a second, right? There's 30 frames per second. And every frame where we are holding down the left arrow key, we are going to decrease our player X value. And so as you saw, as I was doing before, where I was like changing, I'm just going to run this really quick. You have to drink really fast for that. Yeah, you have to drink super fast for that. I've heard it happened though, for hypohydration or something. This, when you, oh my god, I should not pay attention to the chat when I'm in the middle of something. So like this player X value, right? If we decrease it by 1, so let's do that right now. Let's just decrease it by 1. You can see that the ghost is sort of inching to the left, right? So every time we decrease it, it kind of keeps moving a little bit to the left. If we increase it even more, it is more dramatic. Keeps moving to the left. So what we're saying here is that when we hold the left button, we want to decrease our player X value, and hopefully it'll make the ghost go to the left. So if we've done that and we've spelled things correctly, and it does what we think it's going to do, when we run the game, oh, it has stopped working for you. Let me run it first, and then we can get to that. So you press Control R to run it, and if I hit the left button, then it should move to the left. Yeah, it's important. I wonder what the error message is. You may have typed a word wrong, or maybe gotten the white space a little wrong or something. Yeah, let me just leave this up so that we have this for reference. Unclosed function at line 4. Yeah, you may have not typed. You might need this end guy. There's 2 ends here. There's actually 3 ends on screen. There's one, this like outside end, right? Is for this function, and this inside and is for this if statement, and you need both of them. You need both of these guys. And there's also this then statement, which is also important to have. But I think you have that. You're missing the end. Oh, okay. And so it works. Awesome. Yeah. If anyone else is having issues, please, speak up and we can try to figure it out. Or ask in the Discord, which I'm not paying attention to, but Babycastles and Mooch are, because they're so kind. Yeah, that is an idiosyncrasy of the language we're writing in. That is, I couldn't put it better myself. Yeah, this language is called Lua, this programming language, and it's a little strange. People have very mixed feelings on it. It's kind of, it's error prone in some ways, right? In that way that it's happened to you, Calm Down Kidder. It's kind of easy to mess up, and the computer doesn't know what you're trying to do. But yeah, let me just get that wow moment again for myself. So we're gonna set this to like 80 and hit left. And now we're really ghosting. But not ghosting in a bad way. In a fun way. In a fun and flirty way. Okay. My sprite is spawning all the way to the left. Rachel, what is your player X value? So this player X value that we set over here, this determines, I'll write a comment for it. This determines where the player starts, where it spawns at the beginning. So if you want to spawn it in the middle of the screen, you probably want to set this to like 60, or the higher you set this, the more to the right of the screen it is going to spawn at. So like, I don't know, 80 I'm pretty happy with, but yeah. Spawn location. So maybe that. I tried 40, 60, and 80, but it's still, so even with 80, it's spawning all the way to the left. That's interesting. What is your sprite function? Or your spur? Maybe spur. Yeah, what is your... Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give people... Yeah, I think Babycastles can help you out a little more in Discord if you're in there, Rachel. Yeah, I'll just give people a couple more and it's sort of troubleshoot things. I'll just sit here while other people get help, actually. Yeah, you could try... Rachel, maybe you could try... Yeah, maybe your spur is player X. Oh, maybe you didn't replace this guy in your spur function. Maybe? Possibly? Yeah, I'll just give people a few more minutes to troubleshoot, etc. Yeah, cool. Yeah, sorry, Rachel. Wish I could help more, but it is kind of hard. There's like so many things that can be wrong. Ghost doesn't move, just shows up all the way to the left. But we'll post in the Discord. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, good luck. Okay, I will give it... I'll wait one more minute and then move on. We're like early. We're early on time. Yeah. Let me check out the Discord. Yeah, there's a lot of people being helped in the Discord. Nice. I'll just leave this up here. People can copy, reference. Oh, don't change it. Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, I'm too cocky. Too cocky. My hubris. Okay. I'm going to move on and do the next part. So we have this ghost. Again, I'm writing. I'm pressing Control R to run the game, right? Just to clarify. And then escape to get out of it. Control R to run it. Escape to get out of it. Okay. So we have this ghost, and we are moving to the left. And so now it's a video game. And so that's like, good job to us, because we made a video game. And that's crazy. I don't know. That's pretty wild. I think we're just going to add a couple more things, which I think, in my opinion, are not unnecessary because we're already a video game. We don't need to add more. But let's say we want to move in other directions, right? So like, right now we can move in this left direction, but I want to be able to move in like up and down directions too, because I think that could be like kind of cool. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do this same thing that we did for this left arrow key button for button 0, which is, again, remember, this button 0 is the left arrow key. We're going to do that for the other arrow keys. So we are going to first just copy. So, and like as in with most editors, we can select this by dragging the mouse, getting this yellow highlight, and then doing a Control-C to copy, and then hit Enter a couple times, and a Control-V. And now we have copied this code. And so, if we run the game right now, we'll see that, we're doing this twice, right? So what probably will happen is the ghost will go like twice as fast. So let's try that. Whee! Okay. But we don't really want to go twice as fast. What we want to do is we want to be able to go to the right, And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to replace this 0 with the 1. So that way now we're getting the right arrow key. And we're going to replace this -1 with a +1. And so now we are saying that when we hit the right arrow key, when we hit button 1, which is also the right arrow key, we're going to add x or 1 to our x value, which will make our ghost go to the right, right? We decrease our x value, makes us go to the left. We increase our x value, makes us go to the right. So I'm just going to run it, and we've done it right. Hopefully now you can go to the left and the right. Sorry, a little off topic, but how do I get into the Discord? Oh, that is not off topic at all. Yeah, there's the Discord invite. It will prompt you for a name. Hell yeah, solve Rachel's issue. Good. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we've just copied the code and we've changed this button to go in the opposite direction. I'll give people a minute to do this. Oh yeah, okay. So now we have movement in the x direction. I would also like to have movement like in the y direction to go up and down the screen instead of just left and right. So we are going to do a similar thing that we did for the x direction, but now in the y direction. So we are going to make a y variable, player y. We're going to set it to, I don't know, 60. Same, we just kind of copy what we did for x and do the same thing for y. And then down here, we replace our player x, or we replace this y value with player y. Sorry, let me just go over what I just did again. So let me make this fit in one screen. So this player y value, we added it, and now we have this player y value. Now we've added it to our spur function. So we're going to about to do the same thing we did with player x, where we change it by pressing buttons. But right now we're just preparing to be able to do that. So now we can control the y value with buttons. I'm making a clone of the Atari game E.T. I've never played the Atari game E.T., although I do know it's like, famous or something. Ghosty looks like that. I'm not a great artist. Me neither. Maybe Babycastles, maybe one day your game will end up in the desert. And someone will find it in the future. Okay. I'm going to move on. So now that we made this player y variable, we are going to do the same. We are going to not just copy, well, let's just copy one at a time. So we're going to copy this code and paste it, right? Doing the same thing we did for button 0. We highlight it to copy, and then Control C, and then Control V, right? So I highlight this, Control C, and then I did Control V to paste it. And now we're going to change our player X to player Y. That's super important. Make sure that you change, because before we didn't change this player X value variable, right? Now we are, because since we're dealing with player Y, we want to change this X to Y. So make sure you do that. So that's the first step. And now, instead of this button 1, we want button, we want to go downwards. So we want this down button. And the number for the down button is 3. So we're going to replace this 1 with a 3. So now we're saying that if this down button is pressed, player Y is going to increase by 1. And if we run that, we press the down button, and we're going down. Right, so if button 3 is pressed, then player Y, remember it's Y not X, is going to increase by 1. Make sure both of these are player Y. Again, we run it, and we can go left, right, and we can also go down. So we can go, keep going down. When you press Control R to run the game, if you hold Control R, it starts glitching and looking cool. What's that feature used for? Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. Yeah, so if you Control R, yeah, I forget exactly what the reasons are, but you can like make Pico-8 glitch out, and it is really cool. I agree. It's like you can like do it. There's a way to like do this in your game and like make it happen on purpose. And I don't know how to do it, but yeah, it's pretty dope. I agree. Yeah, and I think it is like reminiscent of, right, like Nintendo or Atari, the old systems, the classics, the standards. How they used to kind of like glitch out and do that too. Yeah, because computers are wild. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is we're again gonna copy this this guy with Control C, and we're gonna paste it. And now we're going to do the same thing we did with the other ones, but you guessed it, it is for the up direction instead of the down direction. So on our computer, our up arrow key corresponds to 2, and so we're going to write 2 there. And then here, instead of adding, well, before what we were doing is we were adding 1 to y, and if you recall, our 0 is at the top, so when we add 1, it's making it go down. By increasing our y value, we are going downwards. And so if we add 1, so now instead of, we want to go up instead of, oopsie. If we want to go up instead of going down, what we want to do is we want to decrease our y value, right? So if y is 0 here and y is 128 down here, if we decrease it, then we're going to make our character go up. So we're going to change this plus to a minus. Oopsie. My throat is so dry. And then we're going to run it. And now, we have like not just a video game, but like a good video game. Like we can really, yeah, it's very spooky, very atmospheric, and it's interactive. And that is just like, yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll give people some time to, if there's probably like there's a lot of code, so like I don't know, get some issues, and then we're almost, after this we're going to figure out how to share our games so other people can play our games. Ah, decent. Hell yeah, it's decent. I'll wait like a minute or so. Is there a line of code that can make the sprites interact? Like if I wanted the ghost to eat the tombstones and make them disappear? Yeah. First of all, that sounds great. Yeah, there is code to do this. I don't think we're going to. Maybe if we have time, which I'm not sure if we will, I can sort of write some code and show y'all how to do that. The short answer is yes, but it's a little bit tricky, and I'm not sure if we're gonna do that today. But if you are interested in sort of trying to figure that out yourself later, we can post something in Discord. But it has to do with these sprite flags and this function. Which one is it? This guy, mget and mset. Yeah, we can continue that later in Discord. Hell yeah. or do a follow-up. Yeah, this has been super nice so far, so I mean, we'll see. Heck yes. Alright. Yeah, I'll give people... Yeah, I'll move on. Okay, so... Now, second. Now we have, like, our beautiful video game. We are a ghost in a graveyard. Very sad, very melancholy, very beautiful. And we... Aww! This has been great. Yay. That's good. That's good. Making me feel really good. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy it's been... happy it's been good and it's been helpful. But, you know what we haven't done yet is... You know, some may argue that a game isn't a game until someone else can play it, right? What is a game without a player? What is a tree that falls in a forest, but no one is there to hear it, etc.? So what we're going to do now is we're going to share our games. And to do that, we are going to turn this Pico-8 game, or this thing that we're working on in our Pico-8, you know, it's like we're kind of like working on it in the lab, and what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to package it into a cartridge or a cart. Right? So like, if you ever open up like a Nintendo 64 like cart or an NES cart or whatever, you can crack open that plastic and you can see there's like a little circuit board inside, right? And just that circuit board, if someone handed you a circuit board and you tried to plug it into your N64, like that wouldn't work. That's nothing. And right now what we have is like, we're working on the circuit board, right? We are like game developers, we are following in the footsteps and tradition of like Miyamoto's and other game developers that I forget. There are other ones, but we have our circuit board, and what we want to do is we want to put the plastic casing on it. We want to create an actual cart. And so we're not going to edit the game anymore for now. We're not going to work in the editor. What we're going to do now is go back to the command line interface. If you press escape, you'll go back to the command line interface. It's a little weird that like it doesn't, you know, it only like sort of draws in the left. Well, what I just did is I pressed escape and I pressed enter and I just held enter down, because if you can keep holding enter down and like if you press enter a lot, it'll like make your game go away, which you don't have to do that, but I just find it weird that like it doesn't make sense to me that like the game is still there. Anyway, now that we are in our command line interface, you can do CLS there to clear the screen. Oh, wait, let me try that. Thank you, Yokatsun. That is a pro tip. Okay, so the way that we're going to do that is we've already saved our game, right? So if we type ls, we should see, I have a bunch of games, but you should see your game down there. And you can see that I have Graveyard at the bottom of the list, right? That's the game I just made, Graveyard. And if you want to, but that is just like the circuit board version, right? If you want to make it an actual cart, what you want to do is, again, we want to type save to save the game. But now, instead of just writing out the name of the game with .p8, we want to add a .png at the end. That is like the important thing to note right now. You want to do save space the name of your game .p8 .png and press enter. And if you see this, you're doing it right. I'll explain what this label, this blank thing is in a second. But yeah, that is what you want. And so it might be a little like weird or confusing that we just made a PNG file. right? Because like if you know what a PNG is, it's an image, right? So it's like we just made an image, but it's like I thought it was a game. Why is it a game and an image? Like which one is it? And it's actually it's both. It is this. We will make the label for this cart, the one that you put on the, that you would put on the plastic packaging in a second. But this is it is an image that you can like see in preview, and we'll see it in a second. The way that we create the label and put it on the game is like this is saying right here, run cart and control 7 to capture, right? That's what we're about to do. That's what we're going to do to give this thing a label, an image, like a cover image. So when you're ready, run your game, and put your little ghost or whatever character you have somewhere. Aesthetic. I'm gonna put it next to this well. This ghost is kind of going for a walk in the graveyard and having a little introspective moment by the well. And then I'm gonna hit Control 7 or Command 7 on Mac, right? So Control 7. And if you hit Control 7, you can see it says Captured Label Image, and that's how you know it's working. So now that I've captured the label image, I'm going to go back to the command line interface, type CLS to clear it really quickly. You don't need to do that if you don't want to. And then I'm just going to save it again. Do the same thing. Remember what it's called. I'm going to type ls to see it, to list it, and then I'm going to do save graveyard.png again. The file already exists. Do I want to overwrite it? I'm going to type Y to overwrite it. And so now I've saved this thing. And it's not giving me that warning that we saw before, because now this PNG actually does have this image on it. And so I'll give you a second. But water break. And yeah, as we saw before, I think someone asked this question about, is this an actual file? Is it on my computer somewhere? And it is. And we did this before, but I kind of skipped over it. If you want to see where it is on your computer, what you want to do is you type folder, right? Folder. It's like a command, and it means like it's basically telling the computer, my computer, to open up the folder that has all these games in it. A little bit kind of intuitive. That's nice. So you type folder, you press enter, and it opens up this. In Windows, it'll be like it opens up your file viewer. In Mac, it's probably Finder, but it will open it up to the actual folder on your computer, like the directory on your computer, like the files in your computer where your Pico-8 carts are. So you can customize what this folder is, like where things are saved to by default, which I have done that. But by default, it goes somewhere like a little bit more random, or like it'll be in like your application files. And there is a way to, you can read the manual to figure out how to change this, or ask in the Discord. I'm sure someone has figured it out and can just tell you, or something, or and yeah, here is all like sort of the games I've made, and among these we will see we have the graveyard.p8, which again is like the messy circuit board thing, and then my graveyard.p8.png is like the actual cart, the actual like Pico-8 cart. And this is a PNG, right? So I can open it up and see what this file looks like, and it's this cart. It's this image, right? Oh geez, how do I zoom in? It's pretty small, but you can zoom in with this image viewer. And yeah, this is my game. Oh, how do you run the cart? I missed it. You can run the cart by pressing Control R at any time when you're in Pico-8. Oh, JK figured it. True. Yeah. So Control R, or you can do, when you're in the command line, you can do run also. That works. But I always just do Control R because that works from anywhere. I opened the file in a text editor. Real interesting. Oh. You'll need to expose a library folder in your home directory to be able to easily open it in An IDE. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty wild what these files look like, you know, in a text editor, etc. Yeah, so now we have this file. The last thing I'll say before, you could share it in the Discord if you want. I hope I don't have anything permitting my Discord. But before I do, I'm going to name this. I'm going to give this game a name. And the way we do that is we go to the top, we go to our code editor. So press escape until you're in the editor, click on the parentheses to make sure you're in the code editor. And at the top of your code editor, enter a couple times to make some space. And then here we're going to write a comment. And we're going to write a comment by pressing double hyphen and then our comment. And this comment will be the title of our game. So I'm going to call it Spooky Rib. Spook Rib. Actually, I kind of like this one. Spook Rib. Spook Rib. It sounds like something vaguely German. Okay. But yeah. And then you can also put a second line, like, that like a subtitle for your game. Oops. So again, if you want this title, you want to do double hyphen to make a comment, and then a space, and then the title of your game, and then the same thing on the second line for a subtitle. And so now now that I've done that, I'm going to save it again. Every time you modify it, if you want to put it into the cart, you need to save it again. So again, I'm type ls to see the name of the games. I want to save it to this graveyard. And if I want to make the cart, again, I want to save it as a .png. So I want to overwrite it. Yes. And now if we look at this, if we open this up, we will see that this title has made its way onto the Pico-8 cart. Yeah. So again, Pico-8 is just kind of like this magic thing where in the code editor, it looks at these two top lines and it takes whatever is here and it puts it over here, and it takes whatever is here and puts it over here. Maybe you can have a third line, I'm not sure, but yeah. Hell yeah. So now this is my masterpiece, and you can do whatever you want with it. And I'm going to put it in the Discord. Oops, that's my private discussions. Oh hell yeah, there's like games in here already. Here, let's play let's grab this guy. Yeah, and you can just, if you want a game from here, the Discord, you can just kind of drag it into your folder. And now now that I have it in my folder, I can load it. So now it's in the directory. If I want to actually play it on Pico-8, I can do load. What's it called? Gravy Ward. Love it. And now that it's loaded, I can run it. And now I'm playing. Oh yeah. Oh, this is the very relaxed ghost. Oh, I love these burning trees. That's what they look like to me. Perpetually burning trees. Very Kentucky Route Zero. Very magical, surrealist. We have these upside down crosses. Hell yeah. I'm a child of Catholicism, and so this is really doing it for me right now. Yeah. No third line allowed on cart, by the way. Here, let's see any other games. Yeah, let's play like another game before I move on to. Oh my god! Cool. Ooh, pink. I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna load Pinky. loaded, and I'm gonna run it, or just press Control R. Oh my god. Ooh, it's like some sort of oh, it's like a cat. It's like a desert. I'm like in a desert, and it's like a 80s like Matrix abstract. It's vaporwave. That's what it is. Yeah. Heck yeah. This is really nice. Heck yeah. Okay. We are almost running out of time, and I do want to play these games, but before I keep playing games, I'm just going to show everyone how to put it on the internet so that your mom or your dad who don't have Pico-8 can play it, right? Because it's kind of what if you want to show it to a friend and they don't have Pico-8? Like, I think all friends should be required to download Pico-8, but I don't know. Private president. Okay, I think, how do we do this actually? It's my notes. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to let me put this in chat. So if you want to put Pico-8, your game, on the internet, you can go to this link that I just posted in the Discord, in the Twitch. Maybe someone else, I'll post in the Discord too. But it's it's this one that says something 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 page equals submit at the end. So I'll just Google it. So Pico-8 submit. Lee was right. I did jinx myself. I'm really running out of time right now. But this is like the last thing. Yeah, so it's this link right here. I put it in the Discord. And if you want to upload your cartridge, then you can go here and type out an ID for it. This ID doesn't really matter. I'm not even gonna touch it because it doesn't. You can call it like Spooky Ghost or Pinky if you want, but I don't think it matters. Then continue, and now you choose a file. You navigate to your projects. Take note if you don't know where this file is. You can, when you open it up using folder, like take note of, where the path is on the look at the path in your folder, and you can like figure out where to navigate to. But yeah, navigate to your file. Where's mine? Graveyard. The other thing you can do is this save at clip from the command line. So this will save your Pico-8 file, your Pico-8 to your clipboard. So you can Control V paste it into there. So I'll do that. I'll do that just to showcase that. You don't have to do both of these things. You only have to do either get the file, that .png file from somewhere, or do the save at clip. But I'll do this. So now it's been saved to my clipboard. So it's save at clip, that very low res and at sign is an at sign at clip, and then we a Control V, and you paste it here, and this is like the entire Pico-8 game. It's all gobbledygook. You don't need to know what it is. You just save at clip, Control V. It's fine. I wonder what happens if we do both. I'm not sure, because I have both this file and this clip thing. But upload successful. Yeah. And now that it's uploaded, I'm pretty sure that it already has sort of. If you want to have a somewhere someone can play it, you have to create a new thread in the BBS. Title it whatever you want. Category. Ooh, spooky. Publish. and now you have, now it's there, and you can just kind of play my game. I think you might have to create a Lexaloffle account, so that's the only thing. But yeah, let me know if, I'll just go over that again. You go to this submit link. But yeah, alright, just to clarify, now that I've made this, like, I've published it and put it on there, anyone, even if you don't have Pico-8, you can come and play this. Does that little cool, like, booting thing? No, and yeah, you might have to create a Lexaloffle account. What was I doing? No. This is like the magic link that you go to if you want to submit something. You can probably Google like Lexaloffle. Lexaloffle is like the people that make Pico-8. So lexaloffle.com, page equals submit. So I put the link in the Twitch, it's in the Discord too. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions or anything. Let's go back to Pico-8. Anything else? Yeah. Again, you come here, hit continue, choose file. I'm not going to make anything. Or you can do the save add clip trick, save to clipboard. You go through. Hell yeah! Yeah, it is 5 o'clock. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much to Zep and Lexaloffle for their support and their extreme generosity. This has been really nice for me. It's been really fun to see all these games and run this. I'm happy that people were able to make a video game. Hell yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, hell yeah. Yay. Happy this was fun. Yeah, I'm going to take a break and go eat something. But if anyone, maybe we can maybe later we can figure out how to do different things. Like if you're hanging out in the Discord, if you have any questions about I want to have it goes that eats a tombstone, etc. Maybe we can do that later. Yeah. This is going to be recorded. I'm just parroting what Babycastles is saying. But yeah. First of all, thank you so much to the City of New York Department of Cultural Affairs for their support. Fuck yeah. And yeah, today this recording will be, or this will be recorded and on YouTube too, so you can go back and check things if I moved a little bit too fast. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I'm gonna sign off now. Yeah. Woo, Pico-8.